A work of art is a vehicle for ideas, for memes. It's obvious that sometimes the ideas are like typical ideas. You want to spread a message or you want to spread a moral lesson or something like that. But it doesn't have to be that way always. Sometimes it's just an idea that is a uniquely artistic idea about how to structure works of art and new possibilities with how to arrange works of art and display other ideas. And this is something that I haven't seen a lot of focus been put into, but I think it's a very important and foundational idea about the fact that works of art contain memes, they contain ideas, and all of the implications of that. If we have the understanding of how genes work and how genes replicate, and that we don't want to be focused on the vehicle for the genes in order to be analyzing the genes, we need to look at the main unit of replication, which is the gene and not the organism, for example, then we could analyze works of art in the same type of way. And in fact, we wouldn't be analyzing the works of art, we'd be analyzing the ideas within the works of art that replicate. So for evolution to happen, you only need a few things. You need to have the possibility of variation. When you have variation, that just means that an idea can change, it's not static totally. You need the idea of replication. So an idea can be put into multiple different places. And let's say for a work of art, ideas do replicate, and a simple way of thinking of it is that they're copied into other works of art, or they're copied into minds. And from that alone, we know that the copying is not always exact. It's error prone. And errors mean that there's a possibility of mutation. So you have ideas that copy and they mutate. And then because of those mutations, that means that there's the possibility of then differential replication. That means that the original idea will begin to replicate at some rate, and then one of the mutated ideas will begin to replicate at a different rate. So there's differential replication. And that differential replication is another way of just saying there's selection. One will replicate better than the other. One idea will replicate better than the other idea. So of course that happens with works of art, as well as it happens with many other things. It happens in genes, it happens with regular ideas and behaviors in people, and it happens with ideas and works of art. I've recently learned of Suzanne Blackmore. She's got this interesting categorization of genes, memes, and something that she calls technological memes. She also calls it teams, which I don't like the name, but whatever, you get the picture. There's just like 3 different categorizations. I've only just learned of this idea, so I don't know how she technically divides them, but genes are the things that replicate for biological life, and it could be just the primitives that are on any planet and they begin to replicate. Okay, sure. And then you have then you have the memes that are more of the abstract ideas that replicate, and they can jump through multiple different mediums. They're not only limited to some narrow range of mediums like genes are. Genes are all, for example, on Earth, genes are all in DNA. They're not in other mediums. But in the case of memes, there is no particular medium. They're ideas in your mind and in different minds, and they are arranged in totally different ways in different minds. They can be written down as ideas and so on. And you have all those. And then you have the teams, which are, I'm guessing, similar to memes, but they're embodied in technologies. So the main embodiment is not the sort of abstract ideas, and they're not mainly jumping through different mediums, but their main medium is this sort of artifact that is created. I think that's that's just my very loose, offhand interpretation of just hearing those three categories. And in that case, a work of art will have memes that are mostly meant to be embodied in the work of art. The fruition of the idea is that they're embodied in particular works of art. So again, a work of art is like a technology. So that puts this meme of a work of art in that category. The vehicles are technology. And so I'm curious about Suzanne Blackmore's ideas on memes and teams. I listened to her TED Talk this morning from 17 years ago talking about these ideas, and I would love to hear more about it. And man, why isn't there anybody who's talking about ideas in works of art as memes in works of art, or knowledge in works of art? I played a little bit around with some GPT this morning, and I saw that's how I found Suzanne, of course. I also saw that Daniel Dennett has a paper written about what is it called? It's something about I don't remember what it's called. I think it's about art though and creativity. It's written in the Journal of Aesthetics, and it's about memes. And I think it's about memes in works of art. So anyway, I haven't read the whole paper. I just read like a little bit of the abstract, and I'm interested and I want to read more. So anyway, I'm doing doing a little bit of my own research here to find all the people who have thought about Richard Dawkins's ideas of memes and applied it to aesthetics or something similar to aesthetics, so that we can more fully understand the implications of it in regards to technologies and works of art as a form of technology. I think there's a lot there to be understood, and a lot there that is yet to have been explicitly understood and written about. And that's what I want to do here on this channel. So you're going to hear a lot more about memes. But again, this is extremely important. The focus of aesthetics and the focus of appreciation. When you're appreciating beauty, the focus should not be the vehicle. The focus should be the memes, the knowledge, the beauty within the work of art, not the vehicle. If you're this far in a Zachary Mizell aesthetics video, well, thank you for watching. I'm glad it seems like you're enjoying the content. I'm glad you're here. And if you have any ideas that have been sparked from this, I'd love to hear more about it. So let me know in the comments.